Good morning, YouTube. So we are back at the Howard looking at the California, and we're gonna put it up on a lift and take a look at it.
So are you recording all of the nefarious activities?
If you're new to the channel, my name is Dan, that is Adam, and in the Superleggera is Josh. And well, if you didn't already see it, we know that unfortunately our Ferrari California got wrecked. Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. Nope, that does not suck. Okay, so we are in the middle of talking to our insurance company about getting this taken care of. They actually asked us to throw it up on the lift. We're gonna see how bad the damage is to the suspension and stuff. We do know, like, oh yeah, so here's the problem. The door is toast, so Adam, being his little insurance adjuster self, looking at this door and basically explained how there's beams in the door, and once those beams are screwed, the whole door is screwed. So that door is done. This is a problem. This is all part of the unibody, and this is messed up. This got tweaked, all of this is tweaked, and obviously all these pieces are toast. Obviously this panel is done, this is done, and obviously the suspension's done, the wheel's messed up, the exhaust is bent, the rear bumper, all that stuff is done, and then the top no longer functions, and that is actually a big concern for us too. So we're gonna get up on the lift and take a look and see how just how bad this thing is.
Caliper is?
Brakes, caliper got damaged?
Or at least the wire.
The inside of the...
Oh, the CV axle is gone.
Oh, where did it...
Well, it snapped that CV axle.
Yeah,
it's snapped in half.
Yeah.
Just...
Really?
Yep.
Yeah, look right here.
Hold on, let me see this.
You can see the grease.
What is this thing? Oh, that's a suspension control.
Level sensor.
Oh,
yeah,
dude, yeah, the CV boot's gone. Holy crap. Hold on, let me... Do we have better light? Oh, yeah, look at that. That CV joint is gone. Where is it snapped on the...
I think it's snapped
suspension?
internally.
Oh, dude, right there. It's sheared off.
Where?
Right here. It's the control arm mounts.
Yeah.
Those are sheared off.
Wow, I can't believe that control arm is just snapped. Just done.
Yeah.
I bet you we take
just
this
hanging.
panel off, I bet you we find more damage.
Oh, I'm sure. They might want us to. We'll see. Yeah. Look at that.
I mean, that takes some force to do that.
Yeah, that's a pretty beefy mount. This one bent. Oh, dude, the shock. I think the shock's leaking.
Probably.
We're trying to get the under panel off just to see how much damage there is down
I
here.
think you replaced the control.
A few moments later.
All right, YouTube. Well, we just got the phone call from the insurance, and yes, it is totaled. That's kind of what we expected. So now we just got to get them to pay us off. So we're gonna get that all situated, and then we might do a buyback. Anyone want this thing? So we might be able to do a buyback and sell it to one of you as a total car. I mean, if someone really wants to deal with that. Anyway, so that's kind of what we expected. It's a pretty substantial amount of damage, and unfortunately Ferrari parts are not cheap, so yeah, it didn't take a whole lot of effort to total it. All right, we'll see what they give us for the total value of the car. It needs to be something more than what we're, approximately what we were hoping to sell the car for. So we were literally hoping to sell this car for somewhere around 125 or so. I think that's pretty close to the market value of this car. So we'll see what they offer and update you once we have that, but at least things are moving forward now, so that's good. And we'll get some progress.
Eventually.
Hey YouTube, we're back, and so...
It totaled.
Yeah, well, we already talked about that.
Oh, did we?
Yeah, because we were at the shop. Well, anyway.
I wanted to break the... It's depressing.
I'm sorry.
I know.
I'm sorry, Adam. I'm sorry.
I thought I was going to be able to... Son of a bitch.
So yes, the California is totaled. We wanted to discuss some of the insurance implications and things, and we're going to kind of talk about a little bit generically, somewhat related to our situation, somewhat just generically. In the first video about the California, should we talk about the insurance stuff? And a lot of people said yes, they would like to know more about this. So,
and I think we're going to do a more in-depth video at some point, but this
yes,
is just going to be
this is just going to be kind of
general, semi-specific.
Right, like this sort of scenario, what to expect. There's our insurance policy, and then the lady who hit us, her policy. So she's got Geico, and her policy had a $25,000 limit on collision.
Correct.
So
liability, yeah.
On liability. So basically that's saying her insurance will pay up to a maximum of $25,000 for any crash.
Property damage.
our car.
If there were medical bills, it
Different.
would be paid out of a separate pot of money, which I believe is $30,000 minimum.
Minimum. I'm
in
sure she's got the
Texas,
minimum.
Probably.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, I think if you have, I think it goes in like 30, 60, then there's 50, 100, then 100, 300, I think is
Yeah, it's got like
the
different tiers. So she had the Texas minimums, which are the minimum amounts required by Texas state law. Different states have different amounts. Obviously, different countries have different systems entirely, so we're not talking about that. And we're specifically talking about Texas. So in our situation in Texas, she had the minimums. We could just say, okay, give us the $25,000 and be done with it, which obviously would not be good because then our car would be, still totaled. What happens is then we have a few options. One option is we just reject her insurance entirely and sue her.
Correct, because back to what he said, if they would have given us the $25,000, they would have required us to sign a document saying we wouldn't pursue any further legal action against their insured.
So like that's when you see all those like lawyers that are like on the billboards, that's what they're doing.
Well, typically they're for bodily injury.
Right,
mostly.
yeah, most of the time.
There's not a whole lot of money in property damage.
True. So we could do that. That's going to be a massive pain in our ass. It would take months. It's going to cost us a bunch of money. We'll probably never be made whole.
Right.
Totally not worth it. Just a total pain in the ass.
Nope.
So the other option that we're pursuing is we're going to go through our insurance. So first of all, it's a really good idea to make sure that your insurance policy covers your cars in their entirety. So we did not have a declared value policy. This is not that. It is
Most policies aren't declared values.
Declared value policies are going to be like Hagerty and collector's insurance, that sort of stuff.
And it's probably going to be pretty specific cars. I doubt you can pull a declared value on like a Civic or something.
A Camry or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of times it's on
Maybe.
it's appreciating assets or it's expensive cars or rare cars. And they usually have like weird limits, like you can only drive certain miles. I know they have like weird limits about like you can't even drive it to work.
Yeah.
Like strange things like that. We did not have one of those policies. It is just a regular old car policy. It behaves just like your regular Toyota Camry policy. Basically what that means is they say, okay, so first of all, we have enough coverage for the car. We also have enough underinsured and uninsured motorist coverage. And that's this particular instance. So we're not putting it on our collision, we're putting it on our underinsured motorist because her policy wasn't enough.
And that's what you need to make sure has enough coverage for your vehicle, because if you were to file it on collision, it would cover the whole amount no matter what, because it's collision for your vehicle anyway. You're paying that amount in your premiums for them to cover your vehicle. With under and uninsured motorists, that's when they ask you what do you want to cover up to under those premiums. So it'll be on your bill, and this is something we can go in and maybe I can print one of my bills off when we do the actual video to like show you. But my insurance company bill will look different than State
than
Farm
mine or
whoever,
whatever.
but it will at least give you a general idea of what to look for.
Basically, if you have an expensive car, it's probably a good idea to go check your underinsured and uninsured policy, at least if you're in Texas, because other states again are different, and make sure that that amount is larger than the value of the car that you think it's worth. For example, if this was this Lamborghini, it's worth north of $150,000 but less than $200,000, so we probably would want to make sure we have at least $200,000 in underinsured.
I would imagine they probably do it in like
I think it's like 1-3 or
50
something.
increments, like
Yeah.
152, 253, maybe. And of course, it probably varies by insurance company.
So the good news is that policy is generally not going to hurt you if you file on it versus a collision. So like it's not the rates won't hopefully go up. They shouldn't. Versus a collision, it can go up and all that stuff. So that's the good news about that. And also it's just kind of nice because it's a cheaper premium than the other policy. Like the collision policy is very expensive. To have huge coverage on the collision is quite pricey. And big coverage on the underinsured, it's not really that substantial increase of your premium.
And in some states, like in Texas, it lowers your deductible as well. So even if you have a $1,000 deductible for collision, if you file under UMPD, which is what insurance lingo is for UMPD, it's in Texas a $250 deductible. So it saves you money on the deductible. And then if your insurance gets money back from the other party's insurance, they'll refund you that deductible in the future.
Nice.
So You have to pay it up front, though. That was the big thing that everybody always got mad at me about when I was an adjuster.
You have to still write a check.
You still have to pay the deductible. They're like, well, what do you mean? It's UMPD. It's the other person. I'm like, I understand that. And yes, insurance companies could probably do a better job of educating you on how it works, because nobody ever reads their policy documents ever.
Why would you?
Yeah, right? It's not important or anything.
No.
But you do owe your deductible in Texas, and depending on the policy you have. I should say that this is pretty general information. You should always consult with your insurance company. Don't just take any, whether it's our video or anybody else's video about insurance. There's so many ins and outs and laws per state, and always talk to your insurance company, but these are the general rules.
When you start getting to this sort of expense, it's really worth knowing what you're doing and making sure you're making the right decisions to protect your own butt. So, as of this point, our insurance has totaled the car, or saying it's totaled. They haven't given us a value on it yet.
It's probably going to take a couple days.
It's going to take a little bit. That's the other thing. It's hard to figure out the value of this car because they were like, well, there aren't a whole lot of these transacting. We're like, yeah, we know. So it's going to take them a little bit to figure out what's the value of the car. So we'll pay our deductible. We'll get a check for the total amount.
Typically what they do is they just pay you a check less
minus that,
less your deductible.
Right. And then what they're going to do is at that point, they're going to go back to Geico and say, hey, you need to give us as much as you can. And they're going to probably give them 25 grand. Like, I guess it's called like subrogation. Subrogation, yeah.
In Geico, there is an entire department that's all they do all day is subrogate claims from one insurance company.
It's like a miserable life.
Yeah, I don't know, honestly, because, I mean, you're not really dealing with customers. You're dealing with other insurance companies. So,
True.
I don't know. It's probably one of those things where some people probably hate it and some people probably absolutely love it.
I guess, yeah, you just sit there behind a computer.
Yeah.
Some stuff that it's no longer in our control, right? So we're happy, we're paid off, we're done, take the car away, not our problem anymore. There is a very real possibility in this case, not typically, in this case, our insurance may choose to file suit against the owner of the Lexus, because it's such, like, normally they probably wouldn't, because like normally if it's a small amount of money, like it's not worth their time, right? But,
right, yeah, typically they just write it off as a cost of doing business.
But this is potentially a six-figure difference that they're paying out.
Yeah.
So we're talking potentially, like, let's say they value the car at 125. So Geico puts 25 towards it. That means
they're still
paying us 100 grand out of their pocket. Woo! They're gonna potentially try and sue
The other
her.
thing they can do is there's this thing out there called reinsurance, where an insurance company puts insurance on the policies that they write, and they could just file it on their reinsurance claim.
Yeah.
If they don't want to bother
actually getting the lawyers and whatever.
Yeah.
This should be a wake up to some of you that have like minimums on your policies, because if you have assets, you are potentially risking those assets. Like, they could come, we don't know if they will.
They could.
They could come after her
not.
and try and sue her and potentially take a big chunk of her assets. Who knows? We don't know what's going to happen. I mean, that's out of our control. There is one other thing that's, of course, been brought up, which is, so now that it's going to be totaled, do we buy it back? In our particular case, we probably will. Basically, our insurance company is going to say, hey, if you still want this car, you can buy it back from us for X dollars. And so what we're going to do is we're going to figure out, hey, if we can buy it back and sell that car to someone else, or part it out and make enough money to make it worthwhile, we'll buy it back. In our case, we already kind of discussed it, and we don't want to part it out because
it's a lot of work on our end.
It's a ton of work. It's going to take a lot of time.
And then at the end of it, you're stuck with a chassis.
Right, yeah. Then you got to send that off to a scrapyard.
You have to pay somebody to take the chassis.
Mostly for me, I don't want to tie up that much of my money for that long a period of time, because we want to start buying and selling cars. Basically, at this point, we want to buy it back if one of you wants to buy the car as a salvage title car from us. So if you'd like to buy back our salvage car from us, send an email, sales@ngsupercars.com. And if you have the best offer, we can work something out.
Remember, you're probably going to have to pay cash. I doubt anybody's going to
no one will take a loan on that. Yeah. They're going to be like, oh, you want to take
before you email us, make sure you have.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this much, we already have an offer at $65,000, so if it's below that, don't waste your time. Just saying. Because we actually had a lot of people like, dude, I want that. And we're like, okay, great. take it off our hands. So anyway, that's the current scoop on the California. If one of you wants to buy it as it is from us as a salvage title, we can work that out. Email sales@ngsupercars.com.
But keep in mind, it will be a salvage title.
Yes.
We will not, hey bro, don't register as
No,
a
it's
salvage
salvage.
title. We will do it as a salvage
Yeah,
title.
because we don't want to get in trouble.
We're not going to do any hey bros.
No. And it's up to you to come get the car and transfer it because it doesn't move on its own.
Yeah.
You need a winch or something.
Yeah.
There you go. That's currently where it's at. The good news is we basically are going to be made whole on the situation. So that was a big worry of ours is, what's this going to cost us? Are we going to lose anything? And it looks like we're not, which is the way it should be because it's totally not any of our fault. Like, I'm literally, anyway, you've already seen that. So there you go. All right, guys. So that's going to do it for this video. So again, please like, share, and subscribe, hit the notification bell, and go visit normalguysupercar.com. There you can buy parts and services for your car and use the code NGS10. It hooks you up with 10% off basically everything we sell. And we're adding more stuff. So go check it out, go visit the website. And if there's not something on our website that you want, email us, sales@normalguysupercar.com, and we'll try our best to see if we can get it or something like it. Hopefully, with this whole saga of the California is almost over. We're still sad to see it go. We were really looking forward to selling it to one of you because it was such a beautiful car and it was so good of shape. It really was just super good, super clean. Alas, is not anymore. All right, guys, we'll be seeing you soon. We'll be doing a lot more cool car stuff, so you're gonna want to stay tuned.
I guess it's going to be sweet because I don't really have an insurance pun.
It's gonna be underinsured.